Hello friends, welcome to today's demo. Today I'm going to talk to you about the amazing world of black. So we're talking black ribbons, we are talking black paper. Okay, so it's really interesting when it comes down to black things. I actually have a number of customers and actually people in my life that say, oh, black, I always try to stay away from black. That's so dark, it's just not really my thing, which is totally fine and I absolutely respect that. However, for me personally, I love black. I absolutely love it. I love how it's a little bit dark, but there's so many amazing textures, especially if we're talking about the world of ribbon. It is just absolutely incredible. So you have like your satin ribbons, the mesh textured ones, which I just love. I use them a lot. They're just really, really fun. The lace, I don't know if you've seen this yet, Linda, but it is so beautiful. And then I've also started carrying some vintage ribbons, which is almost like, I want to call this like a fancy rickrack. I'm not even sure what you would call that. Yeah, a trim. Yep. Absolutely stunning. Yes. And then this is like a thicker version of that, and it is so beautiful. Again, all the textures. There's something about black on black is just really appealing to me, something I've always really enjoyed. And then the grosgrain grain, of course, which has a light texture to it, and this has like it's like a partial sheer. The black leaf ribbon, and then we have our little cords. So the cord ribbon you can use for a variety of things. This one, which is kind of like a bookbinding kind of a cord, is actually really great for making necklaces because it's so soft that you can also do bookbinding with it because you can really yank on it and it doesn't like rip or tear or fray or anything like that. So that's something that I've really loved. And when I've made like pendants and things in the past, and then if I need jewelry, like a jewelry cord of some kind, this one, which is like kind of like a suede, is also really beautiful. But these are both very soft, and they're really just very wonderful for making necklaces and things like that. So, okay, so I think then in the world of paper, I'm just going to kind of review some of the things that I really love. Oh, I'm a little on the warm side today. I can actually turn this fan on, which is weird for me, but I'm going to go ahead and just turn this on. There's a touch to it. Oh, just getting a little overheated. Much better. Which seems so weird to turn a fan on in the winter.
It kind of matches your background.
Yeah, it does match. Yeah, I do match the background today. Okay, so now we're going to talk about paper. So we have a variety of really cool ones I'm just going to show you and talk to you about. So first off, this is the handmade paper. So this has a very light texture to it. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera there, but it actually has a fiber in it. So this is a mulberry paper. It's very thin. Some light does pass through if like you were to put it up in a window, but it still is going to be very dark if you're going to put it in a window. So, but yeah, it's just a really nice, very interesting paper. And then the black suede, which is the deepest, darkest black that I have here on my table. It is so beautiful, absolutely stunning, and it has that fuzzy texture. But it's also a type of book cloth, which is really great for wrapping a book because then you can open and close your book a million times. And it doesn't just wear down, so it's actually meant to be wrapped around a book. This right here is actually Star Dream, which is their metallic black paper. And it is a lightweight, but it is shimmery and it is so beautiful. This right here is called Muscle Tone, and it is, I want to say it's 120 pound. It might be 130 pound, but it is extremely heavy. It's not as thick as a lightweight chipboard, but it is a nice thick paper, and you can feel that because it is pretty crazy.
Oh, it is.
And then this is just a nice 80-pound black cardstock, and it has a linen finish, which is a very faint texture on it. Okay, so just to kind of introduce you to kind of some of the things we're going to be using today. Okay, all right. So I'm just going to start out with like plain black background paper here. This guy is going to be, probably, if I were to guess, is probably going to be the Classic Crest Eclipse Black, I believe is what that one's called. It's just a nice black. It's a smooth finish. It works great for a variety of things. So I'm going to grab my paper cutter here. Okay. And we'll cut this down to size. Let me get my scoreboard here. I'm going to go ahead and score this. Okay. So what I wanted to do for this idea, I'm just going to do There's a little peekaboo kind
Is
of
this
thing.
5-inch or
What was that?
5-inch or?
This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's just a standard A2.
Standard, okay.
Yeah, the A2 card. And then, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp something. I think I'm going to go with this side. I'm going to grab my black ink here. We're also going to be using a variety of black inks today. So I'm going to use my standard black VersaFine Clair, which is my favorite black ink. I love this ink because as you stamp with it, it looks like you've printed it off the computer. It is that crisp and dark. It is absolutely wonderful. And then I'm going to use this background textured paper here. Or sorry, textured stamp here. I'm just going to go ahead and just stamp this down. Don't have my platform with me, it's up front. So I'm just going to make do using the back side of a ink pad, just a flat surface to get even pressure. All right, there we are. So even though it's just a black on black, it is really, really beautiful. I just love that. And it's just very very subtle, but it's really wonderful for doing a background for your paper because then you can just put something else on top of it or have a pop of color, which is really great.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to do the other side of this because again, I just love this and there's so much you can do with it. I'm going to clean this off. I love using the background textured stamps and giving that tone on tone look because it is so cool. I just love that.
Yes.
I love color, but I love like 2 shades of the same color together. Something I've always really enjoyed. This ink also you can do heat embossing with. So
Emboss. Okay, yes. I'm using emboss or.
yeah, and so you can use when you're doing black on black, you can either use clear embossing powder because it's going to be the same color, or you can use black embossing powder. And I think for this technique, I'm going to actually use black embossing powder. Use this to press this down. Again, it looks exactly the same at the exact moment. Black embossing powder down.
Yes, black.
Yes, we're going to be playing with a lot of black today. Black and black. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to add this texture in. I love this metallic, or the gloss. Okay. So then what you end up with is this really beautiful texture across the entire thing, and it's a little bit glossy. And so when you pull that out and kind of compare it to the other one, you can really see, one, it's deeper, darker black, but also it just really pops. It's just really fun. And of course it's textured, and I just love that. But just so you can just take a look at that. It's just really, really fun. Okay, so along the same lines of doing heat embossing,
This is so subtle too.
it is, it's very subtle, the background of the first impression. Yeah, it looks, I really like how that looks though. Okay, so then what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna do a partial stamp on this one just to kind of show you what I'm doing. We're just gonna do a lot of the same thing at the exact second here. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna stamp my image just partially on this. Again, I don't have my platform, so I'm just doing even pressure this way. It's kind of a faux, not a real thing that you should be doing, but it works. And I'm going to do that one more time here because I'm going to do something else with it.
Scoop it up.
Yep, just scoop it up. Exactly. It works. It works. Do like a little wash. All right, I'm going to set this on my phone. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So now that we have our partial done, I'm just going to clean up my background here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now that I have my partial done here, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to actually stamp out my sentiment here. And I want this one that says, may all your dreams come true, because I think that's just a really sweet stamp. This comes from a Tailored Expression set about being a unicorn, and so it's very, very Ellie, I would have to say. So we're going to stamp that right here. And then I want this to act as a mask, so I'm going to go ahead and do one more round of heat embossing with my sentiment. Oops, hopefully my embossing cutter will stick to that. There we go. Okay. All right, so we have may all your dreams come true, and then we have our little sentiment there. Okay, so now what I love so much about black paper is that the metallic watercolors show up on it.
Yes.
It is so beautiful.
Black makes everything stand out.
It really, really does. So I'm just going to take a sidebar for just a second and just show you about coloring onto the metallic paper, because like I said, it's just really fun, really, really beautiful. So what's nice about this mica watercolor set is you really don't need very much, and the colors are just really amazing. They really show up super beautifully on the metallic paper, on the black paper, the metallics do. I just absolutely love them. Even on white paper, you're going to get a little bit more of the vibrant, true color that you're seeing here, because what's happening here is that you're just seeing just the pigment sitting on top with the mica. But like I said, the colors are really, really fun, and I love playing with them, and they're just really great for doing watercolors. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea for how that works, just to get start with. Okay, so now I have stamped my image down, but I want it to really pop off of the page, right? So you can take your mica watercolors. This blue here, actually this blue is even more amazing. I know I'm mixing my colors, I probably shouldn't. And then I'm just gonna run this over the top here, and it's really gonna make the image pop off of the page so you can actually read it just a little bit better. And I think I'm also gonna actually mix in a little bit of silver just so I have a little bit more contrast. Oh yeah, there we go. Right over the word dreams. Doesn't all your dreams come true? And then I'm going to take some of my watercolors and just kind of do a wash across my image over here. So then all the colors kind of tie in together, but then that really makes that texture really pop. And I'm going to add quite a bit of water in here, so it's very watery. And the reason why is because I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do a metallic splatter. And so you want your paint to be nice and watery for doing your splatter, so it actually shows up. And then let's take our silver, and we're going to do the same kind of idea. And so your stamp has actually acted as a mask for doing your watercolors. And then we have all our other colors kind of tie in together here. Bring some on the edge. And I'll probably add like a ribbon or something in here just to kind of give contrast. And then we'll do our silver splatter. Okay. So then you get this really cool card that the theme is black, but then you have this your metallics that really make the image really pop. And I really, really like that. I just think that's really fun. Okay, and so then I can use a little bit of black ribbon. There's so many options. Oops, one of my fell. I know it's hard to see because my floor is black over here too, but we'll just see. So if I were to use a little bit of black ribbon here, that would really give nice separation and make it look really nice and clean. I'm gonna grab my double-sided tape. And I think I'm actually gonna dry this really fast with my heat gun because it's still a little bit wet.
Now it jumps up the color.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Just a little bit, yeah. No, it's kind of cool right now because I'll probably go back in and mount this on something later. But just for the time being, I'm just gonna run this down. And then I'm sticking my ribbon down. And I'm not gonna tie a bow or anything, I'm just gonna give it nice separation here. There we go. Perfect. And then I'll take my scissors. And I'm gonna bring this to the back side. And then later I'll probably go in and mount it onto the silver base or something. But in the meantime, you can at least see how that looks. I really like that. Actually, something else you could do is if you wanted, whoop, I'm gonna turn this off. If can even mount it onto the black suede, and you have your layers of black on black.
Oh,
Actually,
yes.
I think I am going to do that because it
Yes.
looks so, it just
Yes.
really makes it pop. Oh, I just love that.
Suede has an elegant.
It really does. It has an edge of elegance, but also it's just this color of black is just so rich and dark. Oh, it's just beautiful. Right here. Bring that down. So 4 1/4, so we're going to go a little bit bigger. That way you have a nice border on those 4 sides there. Alright. Get my double-sided tape here. Alright. And then we're going to stick this on here. Alright. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim this. Alright. So then you have that, and it really just totally pops there because you have that nice black border. So, well, your dreams come true. I thought that was really fun. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, so now what we'll do here.
Oh, this is, I love the spatters of
Yes, I do too. I love splatter effect. It's just so much fun. All right, so I'm going to go into my next idea here. And what I want to do here is I'm going to take my 2-inch double-sided tape. I'm going to lay this down here. And I'm thinking about all of the ribbons I want to use here. So I'm just going to kind of look at size-wise. I'm not going to be able to use that one because of my double-sided tape. Because I don't want the tape to come through the ribbon here. So I'm just seeing width-wise. So I want to make sure I can fill up a whole 2-inch roll here. And I believe that I can. Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick this on the front of my card. Put this off. There we go.
And then have a roll of that at home.
Oh, the 2-inch double-sided. Oh, it's
Yeah.
absolutely
I
wonderful.
got it back when Wendy still had her.
Yeah. It's definitely the most cost-efficient way to get a lot of tape.
Yes.
It is $16 for the roll, but you get so much tape here.
Yes.
And I personally use it a lot for doing like displays and things around the shop because it's just so nice because it's quick and easy and it's very,
Yes.
very strong. So now I'm going to peel this off at the front and then I'm just going to stick on ribbon. Because it sticks so cleanly and perfectly to the double-sided tape,
Yes.
it really makes it very easy to make a really nice image with lots of texture. Okay. So then I'm going to stick on this guy. In fact, I might even go all the way to the edge here because I have so many fun ribbons. Come back here. Whoops. Oh no. Oh, I can't believe that came up because it's very strong tape.
Yes.
There we go. So let's go over here. All right. Okay. Use that for another project later.
Another use.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. I can always find uses for double-sided tape.
Yep.
All right, and we'll peel this guy back off. Okay, and then I'm gonna stick on my lace ribbon. I love this. It's so beautiful. And even though that double-sided tape is behind there, oh yeah, I'm not feeling anything sticky on that or anything like that, which is totally fine. And then I think what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to stick this off to the side just ever so slightly because this one, because of the swoopingness, I don't want any of that tape to show. So I'm going to stick this, actually, change my mind here. Luckily I can do this with this. I think I'm probably going to bring in this again. Oh no, here, I might satin. There we go. Let's see what I want to use. Stick that on. And then we'll stick this guy on. Stick him on there. And then see what if I have any others. Oh, I got this guy and I have my leaf ribbon. So I think I'm going to do my suede here. Again, we're just kind of working in a lot of different textures at the moment. And then I'm going to lay down my back here. And I need to finish this off with something else kind of flat. So I think I may end up going back to one of these guys I've already used. So I'll go ahead and trim these off. on the inside is clipping. There we go. Perfect. And we'll do the same thing at the top here. Alright, there we go. Alright, and then I'm going to go back in and just finish off the card with a couple little things here. So we'll tuck this guy underneath all these textures. Let's go with it just a moment. So I can get this guy underneath that because it was so heavily textured there. It didn't quite fit.
So it can overlap.
Yeah, overlap just slightly. Yep. And then I think we'll finish off with probably this guy, if this piece is long enough. It is.
Just does it.
Just barely. Just barely. And I actually might need to trim that off just so that my double-sided tape is not sticky here. If you have like any black glitter, that would also work really nicely for this because then you can just buff in some black glitter, like I've done in the past with like the white glitters and things like
Judikins
that.
made a wonderful one that was black with sparkles in it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
There is something about black. Susie, who teaches classes here, she loves black and she loves the pop of gold with black, which is
I know
something
she
that,
likes black.
oh my gosh, something that I also really, really love. But I am just loving this. I love this. All of those textures. Oh my gosh, that is just really, really
It is
wonderful.
So, yes.
Oh, it
And
makes
the
me
tape
very
actually
happy.
just gives a little bit of a sheen.
Yeah, just because of the double-sided tape, even though it's not sticky at all anymore. But it does have a little bit of that sheen to it, which kind of
it does.
adds even another layer of a black onto that, which I thought was really, really cool. Okay, so now what I want to do is, I got my next piece of paper here. I think I'm going to do a little bit of weaving with 1/2-inch pieces of this paper. Okay. So I'm going to find other ribbons that are kind of in that same kind of width to do some weaving ideas with. So I'm going to use this one with a trim, and then I'm also going to use this grosgrain, which is really nice, and then I think I'm also even going to add some of this textured ribbon. So I'm going to cut this down to size. So to do that, I'm going to take my mesh ribbon and fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it in half again, and then I'm going to take my scissors here, and I'm going to cut this into thirds, so I get 3 pieces that are a similar width. Okay, so now I have all of these to play with. Okay, so then I'm going to start out just like in the past when I've done weaving techniques. I'm going to start with double-sided tape on one side, and then I'm going to stick these on here, and I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to do this guy, and then this one, and then this guy, and then I'm going to do a different one. So I'm doing kind of an interesting ribbon between each of these that has just the plain paper. Okay. So we'll do this guy. And then we'll do our mesh. Whoops, that should have stuck. Try that again. And then we'll do this guy. And then we're gonna go, and then we'll go back and we'll repeat the pattern until we run out of space. Back to my grosgrain, and then 1/2 inch, and finally the little trim. So we'll just keep the mesh in the middle, and that'll be fine. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to trim these, and then we'll take our pieces, and we'll start weaving. All right. So I'm going to start from this side. I'm going to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Alright, so that's one. And then we're going to do the same thing with our next piece. I'm just going to do this on top. So we're going to go kind of back and forth. So this is going to go under, over, and we'll do that all the way. And so we're just going to do the ribbons on the one side of that, but then you kind of get this really kind of cool kind of appearance that kind of happens there. Okay. And then once again here, we're going to go over, under, over, under, over, under. Oops. Okay, on the end here. Go under and over there. There we go. Okay. All right. And then got a couple more here.
Yeah, I think they're like odds and ends of stuff that maybe there wasn't enough.
Oh, really?
You know, maybe only a yard left or something like that. But yeah, they're all a little bit different.
Okay. All right, and we'll do this last one or two here. And then probably what I'll do after the demo is over is I'll go back in and I'll frame it out like I've done in the past, because it just makes it look so nice and clean when you mount it on something else later. So, all right. And I just, like I said, I love all these textures. They're really, really wonderful.
Yes.
I also like that the other layering that I've done here is that all of these trims are really deep dark black, where all the other ones I've used, the paper is really very subtle. It's a little bit more matte versus such a rich dark color. Okay. Over. And over. Okay. All right.
This little end right here goes under next time.
Oh, yes it does. Thank you. Thanks for having an eye on that, Linda.
I saw
We
that
appreciate
one.
that. Yeah. All right, and I'll leave this right now until I go in and I tape it down, which I will eventually do. So. But then you can at least kind of see that kind of look. But it's a really fun way to kind of add in all of those other like really different areas of black.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so now move on to our next idea. I had a little piece of paper. Oh, where did it go? There it is. All right.
That's neat.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the next idea here. Let's get some of this stuff to the side here. All right, so I'm going to go to my die cut binder here. Find the die cut binder. Okay, so I'm going to grab this little mushroom border. It's one of my all-time favorites. And I'm going to grab these little toppers here, the little mushrooms. I'm just going to do those two. Okay. And we'll do a little row of grass as well. All right. And then,
That's neat.
yeah, isn't this a nice binder?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it just keeps everything really nice and clean. It's just so
Yes.
wonderful. All right.
Oh, the scissors are nice.
So I'm going to just make a cute little scene here. So I'm going to use my black papers, all of my different shades. I'm going to do some die cutting. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start out with just doing a little border, and I'm probably going to use this black suede because I love it. Set this in here. And run that through. Have a little grass there.
Holy grass.
And then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out these tiny little toppers of my mushrooms. Because I really love, I want the top of my mushrooms to be kind of textured, so I'm going to do that too. Okay. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to cut out one more shade of black. Let's see what I got here. Whoops, that's not belong there. I think I'm probably going to do this metallic. It's so pretty. Lay it down, and we'll do our little mushroom border here. There we go. So we have our little mushroom border. Oh, I'm already loving this so much. Even though I know it's so weird for mushrooms to be black, I'm actually I really like it. Just think it's really fun.
You can even touch them up with a little metallic if you want.
Oh yeah, add a little bit of metallic. Yes, definitely. I love that. And I think, now that I'm thinking about this a little bit more, I think I'm going to cut out a little sentiment here. Let's see if I have a word in this binder. There it is. This is what I want. Let's see. If I can. Oh, I can fit this on here. Yes. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. All right. Okay. So now we are going to put together our magical scene here.
Yeah, she's right here. She can help me figure it out. Yeah.
Rather than a phone, it's like, okay, know what I need.
Yeah, I mean, if it works,
All
you know,
right.
it's probably
Okay. I'll put all these things to the side. Start with that. Okay. So we have our little mushrooms here and our little grass border. So cute already. Oh my gosh, I love this. So I'm going to go ahead and just start pasting everything down. So lay this little guy down first. I'm just going to do them just above the bottom, so then that way I have a little bit of layering. And then I'm gonna put my little grassy border down, right, just with the edge there. And then I want all of my mushrooms to be seen, so I might actually have to trim this just slightly in order to make that happen.
Not going out at all.
Alright.
Okay, thank you.
Alright. And then we'll go back in here and we'll add our little toppers. Alright. So there's one, and there's the other. I only cut out a couple of these. Obviously, you could always go back and do more if you wanted, but just to show you the idea. I'll stick this little guy. Oh my gosh, so cute.
They layer over the top.
Yeah, these little guys just lay right on the top there. But the idea was that you would cut your mushrooms out of white and then the little toppers could be red.
Yes.
I just love the idea of the black on black tone. Something about, I guess maybe I shouldn't really love this so much, but I like how it's kind of like creepily poison.
Yep.
So if you like did something kind of like the Halloween themed,
Yes.
you could do something like this, which would absolutely work. Can you imagine like having like a bright orange pumpkin or something
Yep.
sitting on that? Like how cool would that be?
Yep.
Yeah, just
I
love that.
The Halloween thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love everything Halloween so much, as you know. But it's just fun, and you know, because like, you know what, you've heard me say, like, I love everything rainbow. I'm obviously wearing rainbow today, but I also love the monochromatic, like the rainbow of one color, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
there's so many different shades and
Oh,
tones.
yeah, they're very good. Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's really cool. And so,
Variation, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen my jars of color that I have here at the shop, but I have jars of color because, I love like seeing all the yellows or all the blues together. They just look so amazing. All right, we have our magical day. And then this is going to say have a. And although the white is showing right now from my glue, it will dry clear.
Yes.
So, which I love about that glue, is that it does dry clear, which is wonderful.
Yep.
All right, but then you can have your little magical day. And I think that I'm going to add just a couple more little elements here. So I'm going to take my hole punches. I have hole punches in a few different sizes here. So I have this itty bitty little one. So I want to just kind of create something kind of interesting, kind of background wise over here. So I'm just going to kind of punch this kind of here and there, kind of randomly. And then I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit bigger. I know it's kind of hard to see at the moment, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here in just a second. Okay. All right. So what you're seeing here is all these little holes. They're like 1/8 of an inch holes, so kind of right here on just on the side here, and the 1/16 of an inch holes. So two different sizes.
Yes.
And now I'm going to go into my 1/4 inch. And I think that's probably as large as I'm going to go. Just because if I go much larger, then it's not going to look as good. Okay. Then I'm going to take my metallic paper, my starging paper, and put it right behind here. Now, it's not going to add a whole lot, but it's going to just make it very subtle, make it kind of an interesting background. Okay. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape now. And then the edge. gonna go ahead. And we'll
Some little pieces are clinging.
Oh, it's just because my 1/8 of an inch doesn't always cleanly cut that the hole out sometimes, which drives me crazy. All right, and then we'll lay that down. Right. So then you end up with this really neat black on black, really kind of cool, kind of magical. See, I actually really like this. So it says have a magical day with our little mushrooms, but you get that little bit of sheen that kind of picks up from the little row of mushrooms, plus the little lines that are the tiny little dots that you
This
see.
was suede right here with the little
Yes,
suede.
isn't that cool?
It is. And then the shiny and the suede.
Yes, isn't that
How
fun?
neat.
Yeah, I really, really like that. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try something just a little different.
Yeah, that is neat texture.
Yeah, it's a really neat texture, actually. I really like that.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to use my blending brush here. And a blending brush is what you would use to apply a lot of inks. So I'm going to apply my Distress Oxide Black Soot ink, okay?
Yes.
And so this ink is going to, it stays wet a little bit longer than the standard Grizz Distress ink. And so I'm just going to blend it across my paper here. Now what you're going to see is just very, very faint tone on tone or a black on black.
Yes, it's oxide.
Yeah, it's an oxide. It's, again, kind of hard to see. It's just very, very faint here. So then, what I'm going to do is to display, I want to kind of displace my background. So I'm going to grab my water brush here. Make sure that there's no color on it at all. So we're going to pull color off here. All right, so now there's just water coming out, okay? So I'm going to create a little puddle of water over here. Might be slightly metallic-y, but, and then I'm just going to splatter the surface here. And what's going to happen is it's going to displace the background, that just oxide ink, because the oxide ink is not waterproof. And so then the splatter shows up on the black. And so you end up with a black splatter on, with but slightly tone on tone on the black paper. It is actually very, very cool. Again, it's just kind of really faint, but kind of has almost a galaxy kind of a look to it that I absolutely love. So I thought that was kind of a fun idea to share. Now, if you're going to
I see. Yes, you have to turn it in a certain light.
yeah, you really have to catch the light in a very specific
Yes.
way, so you can actually see what we're doing here. But I just thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
All right, and the last thing I'm going to share with you is we're going to talk about Nuvo Drops. So, Nuvo Drops is actually acrylic paint that's in a fine point tip. So, anyways, like I said, what's really cool about the Nuvo Drops is that you can actually draw with them, and they are, whoops, and they're slightly raised up. So then you kind of get that really cool kind of black on black appearance. And then I'm going to kind of create some of these kind of splash marks by doing a little dot and then kind of swooping up to kind of create that kind of fine point tip. You kind of get a really cool effect. And it's just really neat because, like, you know, me, I love to draw everything. And so I can even draw my little mushroom. And again, he's kind of raised up a little bit. And I kind of have like some little grasses. So if you're liking me, if you love to draw, this is a great way to go because you can actually draw with your Nuvo Drops, but it is acrylic paint, so it's a little bit more raised up, which is fantastic. And it makes a perfect little drop.
Does it make little beads?
Yeah, yep, so you can do straight up, and they're
yes, yes,
perfectly round. This is really great for doing like eyes on like on little animals and creatures and things, but they are self-leveling, so you get that perfect pearl. So they're called Nouveau crystal drops. Now, because it is acrylic paint, it does take a while for it to dry.
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't want to smear it.
Right. So you can take a look at it, but obviously you don't want to touch
You
it.
just lay it there. Yes.
So, but that's really fun. So along those same lines, you can actually get out your paper here.
I need some of that red for little berries.
Oh yes, yep, and the reds are coming. Yep, and I have I think 3 different shades of red coming, but they're perfect for little berries, absolutely. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here, grab the right one. All right, so I don't know if you know this, but you can actually do heat embossing on top of acrylic paint. So let's just say that I'm just gonna kind of do like a little squiggle kind of a thing. I'm just kind of playing around here with this.
Okay.
Then you can take our black embossing powder again. Now this effect is called molten lava, and it creates a totally different appearance, but it is very, very cool. So the embossing powder has now stuck to the acrylic paint.
Oh Okay.
All right, so this is where it gets weird. So when you take your heat gun and you heat set it, what actually happens is that the acrylic paint bubbles up and releases gases.
Oh,
Because the acrylic paint is wet. So now, so that as the embossing powder is melting here, you see how it's kind of bubbling up like this?
oh, yes.
You get this completely different look in the pan. And it's almost kind of creepy looking, which is really great, again, if you're kind of doing like a Halloween style party. And if you have a more solid image, you can really, really see the effect. So it's not just melting the embossing powder, it's trying to release the gases from the acrylic paint that's there. You see how it's like bubbling up a little bit in some areas? Yeah, the effect is just totally different. And so it's not, you don't end up with a clean embossing, you end up with this really bizarre kind of look. And some of this is still just a little bit wet, but you
Yeah,
should be
I'm
able to
not
touch
touching
it
it.
just to kind of get the, just to kind of see and feel the different textures on there.
Yes.
Because it is really, really interesting. Let me see if I can do, and I'm going to do another little segment here, but I'm going to do some dots this time, just so you can really see what happens here. So I'll kind of smear this around a little bit.
Now this is just,
It's just black acrylic paint, which is the Nuvo Drops,
and just
and then
regular
black
embossing
embossing powder.
powder. Imagine if that had a little bit of glitter to it.
Yes, oh my gosh, absolutely. So I'm going to do the same kind of idea, but I'm showing larger sections of it so you can really see the effect that happens. But yeah, you're right. Glitters, embossing powders. Yeah, there's different ones that they make out there would look very, very cool in that. I wish I had some mica with me, but that's okay. I have it up front. This is very, very wet, so it's going to take a moment to clear this a little bit. You can see how it's starting to bubble up like that. Isn't that very, very cool?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. But it's because that acrylic paint is still so wet, and so as you're taking the heat gun to it, it's releasing all those gases and bubbling it up. So yeah, that effect is referred to as molten lava. And it is one of my favorite things. And you can even like add like gold leafing or glitters or other things to your little your little areas before you heat set it, and then all of them just kind of blend together. But yeah, the look is just, it's really cool looking. But yeah, really, really interesting. And so I think that with the, I think that with the fine point, it's kind of hard to see that really incredible texture. But when you have the baubles like that, you can really make that really stand out, which is just really fun. So yeah. Can you tell me what time it is?
Oh yes, it's, you got 10 minutes.
Okay, great, perfect. All right. Let me just see if there's one other thing I wanted to share. All right, so the only other thing I wanted to share with you is just seeing what the different colors of black ink look like on your black piece of paper, because some inks are going to show up and some are not. So I'm going to go ahead and let's
Don't have any black glitter today.
What was that? No black glitter
No
today.
black glitter today.
No, no. Though I wish I did. But no, I actually don't. My distributor that carries glitter has stopped producing black glitter, so actually black glitter is kind of hard for me to find.
Really?
Yeah, which is super bizarre, but it's hard for me to find.
Oh, I have a container of the Judicans, and it was black with like a little bit of a hologram.
Oh, yes, yes.
Remember, Wendy used to sell that.
Yeah. Well, now, is it the glitter or is it the embossing powder?
Yeah.
Because they make a black diamond embossing powder.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but
not embossing.
But that's a good point, because I do actually have glittery embossing powder. I should have grabbed that. It's called Starry Night, and it is
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe I'll have to
I
snag
think
that
I'm
for
thinking of the
future.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's black diamond, which has glitter
Yeah,
and
there was
black
the white
embossing
version.
powder.
and
Yes.
The black version.
Yep. That's
Yes.
that's embossing powder. Yes.
Wendy had a wonderful sample up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, so these are the differences here of the black inks I've used. I know it's really, really hard to see, but this top one I use the VersaFine Clear, and the second one I use the Brilliance Graphite Black. I'm just testing to see which colors are really going to stand out on this or not. I'm just using the same stamp over and over here. All right, and then It knew that you were right there to pick it up.
Yep.
All right.
Wanted to see me.
And then we're gonna do the archival black. Let's see which colors. Yeah, they're all pretty much, they're all really similar. So I think that to get a really nice, make it really pop on the black paper, I'm gonna most recommend that you use do the black embossing because it really makes it very much stand out. And finally, I'm gonna do my black soot oxiding. I just wanted to see if any of these are really gonna stand out really nice on this. They're all pretty similar. Actually, that oxide ink, you can hardly even see it. So yeah, I would say, again, I know it's really hard for you guys to see up there, but if you're gonna do a black on black, I would probably most recommend the VersaFine Clear, or the archival black is really nice. But the VersaFine Clear is really ideal because then you can do heat embossing with it. So if you decided you wanted to go that route. So, all right, I think I'm gonna end there with today's demo. Thank you so much for joining me. And hopefully you guys got some fun ideas on how to use the black items in your life to create, a fun magical scene, maybe just play around with some art techniques. Oh, not a problem, not a problem. I can go back in and I'll weave it, not a problem, Linda. It is a-okay. You can do some fun weaving techniques, play around with just some black fun textures. I just really, really love that so much. And then, yes, doing your heat embossing or even just stamping your image black on black. And of course, using your mica watercolors. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Or
And
yep,
this
and
was
your
this one
the
right
splatter
here.
and the acrylic. Oh my gosh,
That one
we
on
talked
top.
about so much. There's so much to see.
Look at that one.
Even though it's all black, but it's kind of fun, isn't it? All right, friends. Thanks for joining me for demo. I'll see you guys later.